All right, so in today's video, we are gonna be talking about how I reset my brain to stop procrastinating. So if I think back to, my younger years, my teenage years, which really wasn't that far ago, one of my biggest issues was procrastination. It was waiting until the last second to complete anything. For example, homework assignments, right? I would be that kid who would I wouldn't even wait until the night before. If there was a project due, I would literally wait until the morning of to complete that project. And people don't understand that procrastination, if you don't fix it, it will ruin your life, right? You'll never be able to accomplish anything. You'll never be able to be successful. You'll never be able to be trusted. You'll never be put in a position where you can, gain success because your habits are just lacking, right? So in this video, I kind of want to talk about how I overcame that. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a content creator. I work in that space, and procrastination is just one of those skills that you can't have in this business if this is the lifestyle that you want to live, because you're your own boss, right? There's nobody telling you what to do. There's nobody giving you deadlines. It's you versus you. And so if you can't master yourself and master your habits and understand that you first have to become a coach to yourself. I think that's one of the biggest things is you have to be your own coach. You have to be your own boss. You have to be your own CEO. And so that takes management skills. And these management skills is what's going to take you to the next level of entrepreneurship, okay? So let me get into a couple of the actual tactics that have actually worked for me to be able to overcome this. One of the biggest things that I always think back to, and the thing that I always, come back to and remember, is that it's this one quote, and this will pretty much eliminate 70% of your procrastination. It's remembering the quote, action eliminates anxiety. So if you think about procrastination, you are putting it off because you're anxious. You're anxious about doing the work. You're anxious about not, producing the best result. You're anxious about having to spend the time to do something. But you have to remember that all of that time you spend procrastinating, it doesn't eliminate the anxiety. It just makes it harder, right? It makes it harder on you. And this anxiety, it's self-inflicted. You're self-inflicting it on yourself, when in reality, it could all go away if you just simply did the task, if you simply took the action. So if you constantly remember that action is what eliminates anxiety, then you're gonna get a lot more things done. For example, as a content creator, maybe you're afraid of posting a video. Maybe you don't wanna post it because you feel like you don't know your niche. You feel like you don't know the perfect title. You feel like you don't know how you're even gonna make thumbnails. But these are all factors that you have to worry about after the fact that you actually press this record button and create. Because if you never create anything, then there's all of that stuff is just it doesn't matter, right? Like the perfect title, the perfect thumbnail, YouTube strategy, it doesn't matter if you never actually press the record button. So if you're struggling with procrastination, I would say that's my number one tip. Remember that action eliminates anxiety. And so no matter whatever task it is that you do, you have to remember that quote. Now, getting into some more tactical things that have actually worked for me. And there's things that you can purchase, there's things that you can do for totally free. Something that I have, it's on my desk. I don't have it with me right now, but it's actually a timer. And so it's this digital timer. It's shaped like a circle. It's probably $5 to $10 on Amazon. What I do is I set minute markers. So I'll tell myself, look, I'm gonna spend this period of time just doing this one task, okay? Whether it be scripting a video, whether it be answering emails, answering clients, I'm just gonna take this specific amount of time. And oftentimes, like, you have to start with lower numbers for this. So you have to set the timer for 10 minutes, and then you can set another timer for 15 minutes, and then you can set another timer for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? And you gradually progress, you gradually increase the time that you're spending doing this task. And that's like the number one tip. So getting a timer, you can even use something as simple as your iPhone's camera, and your iPhone's timer, not your camera. You use your iPhone's timer and do that. The biggest thing that I found with that though, and the biggest issue is like when you try to use your phone's timer, is that you get distracted, right? You'll scroll social media, you'll answer a text, you'll watch TikTok, you'll watch Instagram, you'll watch a YouTube video. That's one of the second biggest things that you have to eliminate is your phone, right? So don't get me wrong, I still have my doom sessions, my midday doom scroll session, but I try to eliminate it. How do I do that? I don't put my phone in another room. I know that's a strategy that a lot of people use, or some other people even put their phone in a drawer. I just simply put my phone on a countertop away from my desk, or someplace in my room away from my desk. So when I do this, I still have the thought of like, it literally happened today, like I want to go check my phone. I want to go, like, I knew I didn't have anything important on my phone, but I still had the urge to do so. And so you'll probably, have this same urge if you're trying this out. And then so I just think to myself, look, it's over there. I don't need to use it. I need to complete this task. And so that's when I'll use the first method of the timer, right? I'll say, okay, let me finish, let me stay at my desk. So say it's like 11:55. I'll say, okay, let me stay at my desk until 12 p.m. And if I still want to use my phone, then I can go up and get it. But if I don't, and oftentimes you'll find out that you'll get into such flow state that you forget about using your phone, then you do that. So I call these the minute markers, okay? So if it's 1:30 and you really have the urge to use your phone, just say, look, at 2 o'clock, I'll go grab my phone if I still want to, okay? And oftentimes you'll realize that you really didn't need it. And that's something else that I use, right? So let's see, what else have I used? Okay, I think this is another important one, like changing your environment. So you'll see I'm outside right now. I actually was procrastinating doing this video. I told myself that I wanted to do it a little bit earlier in the day when, everybody was still at work and, I still had some free time in my day because I work remotely. I could have done it earlier when people weren't here, but I procrastinated, right? So this isn't this isn't a thing where you're going to be perfect 100% of the time, right? It's really that 80-20 rule, like trying to focus on this 80% of the time. I mean, sure, 20% of the time you'll slip up, but nobody's perfect. We're all human, right? And we all get distracted. We all have, dopamine, and we want quick dopamine, and it's okay. So the third thing I would say is getting out of your normal environment. So if you're somebody who is constantly in your room, and that's where you find yourself procrastinating the most, maybe it be in your bed, then get out of your bed and go in the living room, or go in the backyard. For me, because I work remotely, it's really hard for me to kind of, when I get in that headspace, I have to get out. I got to get some sun. We have a nice coffee shop here. I'll go to the coffee shop. Maybe I'll take a quick walk. Or even if I just, walk to go grab something from my car, that kind of gets me out of that state. So it's really all state control at the end of the day. The more that you can control your state, the more that you can control your emotions, the less that you'll procrastinate, and the more you'll have that willpower to be able to, do whatever you need. And so that's like one of the biggest things for me, is not focusing on just not being in that environment. So that's probably one of the biggest things, just not being in that place where you actually procrastinate. For me, one of my biggest places that I would procrastinate is my bed. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have ever been in, you woke up in the morning and you have your morning doom scrolling sesh. That's probably where the majority of time gets wasted with procrastination. So the quicker that you can get out of bed, and what I do now is I just make my bed. Maybe I have a little bit of OCD, maybe, that's part of it. But another thing is, like, when my bed is made, I do not want to lay in it. And so that's like one of the biggest things. Make your bed in the morning. I know it sounds super simple, but if like your biggest spot where you procrastinate is your bed, then just make your bed in the morning. And yeah, another thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about too much with like procrastination is like procrastinating but still doing stuff. So it's like, it's false procrastination. So for example, if you have things that you have to accomplish, like you have, actual like work that you have to accomplish, you'll find yourself, and I'll find myself doing this randomly too, is like doing random tasks that don't really matter. Like doing the laundry, or like washing a coffee cup where I could have just left it in the sink and washed it later that night. Or, trying to find something to do that isn't what you have to do. And then so what you got to understand is you got to come back to that first layer is action eliminates anxiety. So like really when you're doing all these things, you're really just trying to put it off. Or what I'll tell myself, especially when I'm creating content, is like, let me script the best hook. Let me find a better video idea. And so the more you can get away from that and the more you can just start taking action, that's pretty much, I think I have a quote on my phone actually from Alex Hermosi that I really liked. Yeah, it's right here. So sometimes I'll make this my screensaver whenever I am procrastinating too much, but you guys can see it right here, and I'll read it to you guys. Here you go. Let me show you guys it, but let me read it as well. So, every person at some point in their lives needs to decide whether they're more afraid of failing through action or failing through inaction. You're going to fail either way, but only one of them gets you closer to your goal. More potential is wasted through inaction than incompetence. So a lot of the times we'll tell ourselves like we can't do this task because we don't have the right knowledge to do it. But that's just a form of procrastination, right? It's analysis paralysis. It's where you tell yourself you need to learn more, you need to be better before you can actually like complete the thing that you want to complete. So just remember that. I always think back to it, like this quote is so good. They're more afraid of failing through action or failing through inaction. Who are you? Like, the more you fail, the closer you get to your goal. That's really how simple it is. And so in entrepreneurship, in content creation, in business in general, it's all a volume game, right? The more reps you put in, the more swings you have at bat, the closer you get to your goal. So don't focus on, having the perfect swing. Focus on, swinging the bat so many times that eventually you build the muscle to have a good swing. And then you'll have a great swing, and then you'll have the perfect swing. But you can't think that you're going to read a book and master everything, or you can't. Like, one thing that would always stop me, and that would always, make me procrastinate, is like me thinking that I just need to learn more, right? There's going to be a tip, a trick from a podcast that's going to solve all my problems, that, it's going to give me that golden moment, but that never happens, right? The golden moment happens when you actually take the action and you fail and you learn from your own experiences. And so those are like the biggest tips that I have for dealing with procrastination. Another big thing that I like actually, found out was like, you only find this out when you self-reflect. And so self-reflection is a big part of growing and, becoming the best version of yourself. And so one of the best things that I do to self-reflect is, it doesn't have to be like meditation. I did do meditation in the past, and I use this app called Bright Mind. And so what meditation does is it actually just allows you to focus on a singular task. And a lot of times with procrastination is you don't have the ability to focus. So if you find yourself, I feel like I have like minor ADHD. Like I've never been diagnosed with it, but I definitely feel like I have it because my thoughts just go all over the place. But meditation, it's tough, right? Like at first you're hearing the meditations and you're thinking like, how is this really helping me? But what it does is it allows you to just focus on one thing, focus on one thought. And so that's what you need in entrepreneurship, because you need to be able to focus on a task and you need to be able to complete it all in one sitting. And that's what's going to help you progress faster. So meditation is huge, but it doesn't have to be meditation in the sense where you're sitting there with your fingers crossed and your legs crossed. Meditation can be as simple as, going on a walk outside. I feel like my best ideas come when I just simply go on a walk, when I'm outside in nature, when I'm sitting here with no music, no phone, no anything, but just with my own thoughts. Taking the time to be with yourself and to self-reflect is what's going to allow you to really think about like what are the things that's holding me back right now. So I wasn't able to be successful as an entrepreneur until I realized this, until I realized that procrastination was the thing that was holding me back. And so you gotta, dig a couple layers deeper and understand like, what are the things I'm doing to procrastinate? Why am I procrastinating? And what can I do to solve this? So yeah, just taking the time to self-reflect, I think is one of the biggest things to be able to overcome this. Another cool thing, like something else you can do too, is like, I just thought back to it. What I'll do is like on long drives, I'll self-reflect. So I'll think back, and I actually have this app on my phone. It's called Just Press Record. So it's maybe like $5. It's literally just like voice memos, but I like it because it organizes it for me. And then so I have like voice notes going all the way back to 2 years ago. What I'll do sometimes is I'll just re-listen to those voice notes, or I'll just make voice notes for, maybe it's an hour drive, a 2 hour drive. I'll just continue to make voice notes, and then I'll self-reflect on them. That's really helped me. That's something that's also really helped me. I know this is like, like the main point of this video is how to overcome procrastination, but I think overcoming procrastination at the end of the day has to do with, self-development, self-improvement, and becoming the best version of yourself and understanding your flaws on a deeper level. So the more time you can spend with yourself and the more you can self-reflect, the more you'll be able to understand how to build the habits that you need to be successful in entrepreneurship and in business. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I got for this video for you guys. I'm trying to think back to see if I didn't miss anything. Cool thing about, like, last thing I'll say too is like, the cool thing about procrastination is like, you always have another chance, right? I think for me, even like, I would procrastinate so much because I have this perfectionist mindset that I want to make everything perfect. I want to do everything right. I want to have, the best piece of content before I put it out. I want to have the best idea before I put it out to the market. I want to have the best offer. And if you're not in business or online business, then you probably don't understand what I'm saying, but don't think that it has to be perfect before you put it out. I think that causes a lot of procrastination for a lot of people that, many people might not talk about. It's, you're not, maybe it's you, maybe you're not that lazy person, but you're that person who has that perfectionist mindset, who you feel like you need to make everything perfect because you're putting your name on it. Just remember that you always have another chance, right? A quote that I'll live by, and I actually just reheard it today, is perfectionism kills progress. So the more you focus on being perfect, the more you focus on making it 100% before you put it out, like it's never gonna be put out there, right? If you're always like, you want to make it the 100% best thing ever, it's never gonna be put out there. So if you're a perfectionist like me, don't stress about it too much, right? You always have another chance, especially with content, with business. Like, you always can just try again. It's like a lottery ticket, right? You have unlimited chances to win the lottery, unlimited scratches, and the quicker that you put it out, speed is what crushes in this game, in entrepreneurship and in business. the quicker that you put it out, the quicker you can get the data back to reiterate, to make it better. But that's pretty much everything that I got for you guys in this video. If this was helpful, I want to start posting more raw videos like this where I'm pretty much just talking about my entrepreneurship journey over the past few years and helping you guys out. You guys who are just getting started, or maybe you're somebody who's been in the entrepreneurship game for a while, and really just kind of talking about my raw thoughts as an entrepreneur, because I think it's these little things that most entrepreneurs don't talk about. They want to tell you that you need to learn this skill, you need to do this business model, but really at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is self-development, it's self-improvement, and it's building yourself into the person who can be successful in that business, and that's through your habits. Of course, I'm gonna have tactical stuff on here as well, things that have worked for me over the past couple of years with entrepreneurship. But if this video was helpful, make sure you subscribe and comment down below if you guys have any other video suggestions for me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's been Alex. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.